The Tie and Hoodie Show is sponsored by ICCLending.com. For real estate service, please go to ICCLending.com.
3, 2, 1.
Every human came to earth with a gift, and they must discover that gift and refine that gift for them to be fulfilled.
The prerequisite for spending time with any person is that they nourish and inspire you. They feed your flame.
Yo, hey man, how you work this radio?
You're not listening to the Tie and Hoodie Show.
Keep it locked.
Owning a home and paying it off is one of the data points of an everyday millionaire.
Home sales across the U.S. are on the rise as buyers take advantage of record low mortgage rates.
Good morning, morning, morning. Now let's get back to the Tie and Hoodie Show.
Good morning. Welcome to the Tie and Hoodie Show right here on 93.5 K-Day every Sunday morning, 6:30 to 7 a.m. It's our pleasure to be with you as always to start your week. I'm your host, Trevon Smith, also known as Trey. And here's my co-host, Andrew Jesse Coble. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm doing good. Good morning, listeners. Good morning, world. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for, hanging it out with us again another week, right?
Yes, sir. It's definitely a beautiful Black February. We're all, definitely in the building. Let's not forget all shows, and this show is sponsored by ICCLending.com. It's the one-stop shop for all your home loans. If you need any help, we got some great information, great giveaways at tieandhoodieshow.com as well. Today's guest, I'm extremely excited about. I haven't ran into this brother in about at least a year and maybe some change. If you turn on BET any given weekend, he's on. He's definitely on some kind of movie. He's on one of my favorite movies, Life, with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. He was one of the hosts, and I think he still participates in the Tom Joyner morning show. I'm not sure, but I got that's what we're here for, to catch up with him. And he was part of the Def Comedy Jam 25th anniversary, where his brother and Mike Epps did a remarkable set. So his brother is the one and only Joe Torry. But today, ladies and gentlemen, we got the one and only Guy Torry in the building. What's going on with you?
Yes, GUY TORRY in the place to be. Got kicked out of Trump University. What up?
I knew you was gonna do that, man.
You couldn't get three more different individuals on this show. You look at
I mean, hey. We have to mix it up here and there, right? That's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what's about being Black, man. We come in all different styles, all different flavors, man, and it's all good.
It's all good. Yeah.
Go ahead and just let the people know a little bit about you. From we can see the basic information through Wikipedia and stuff, but just a little bit about.
All wrong, man. It's all wrong.
How when you end up on Wikipedia, that means you've done something, wrong or right?
That's true, because Rodney King's on Wikipedia.
Hey, see, I already knew this was gonna be a problem with you.
Oh man, I love doing what I do, man. I've been in the comedy game for about 28, going on 29 years now, man, and it's sprung out into so many other things. From stand-up. Stand-up is like the hub, man, and everything else, comes from that. The acting, the radio, the producing, the directing, the philanthropy, all of that, man. So stand-up is my base. That's my solid ground. When all these other entities ain't messing with me, I got stand-up to always go back to. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell, man. I'm tripolar. I got 3 personalities. It's me, myself, and Guy.
Look,
never know which one's gonna show the hell up.
So in 2019, where we was working a little closely together.
Yeah,
I'm trying to tell people, listen. There were certain times I had to get a hold of you on the weekend. I couldn't get a hold of you. I was like, this dude is really in a different city every weekend.
Every week,
yeah. Before pre-pandemic, I was on the road like 40 weekends a year, man, doing 200 shows a year. So it was pretty out there.
Now, Did you? Is that something you always have done, or that did like you was catching a rhythm and you was on that? Because I don't know. I started seeing you gone, man. It looked like you was like.
I've been consistently like that for the last maybe 10 years on the road,
Okay.
like grinding, and it's good. I mean, it allowed me to put food on my table, but allowed me to build my act, but allowed me also to expand, man, and just travel and see different places, man. And you see, what the world looks like. You see what the the states look like. So it was fun. It was fun, but 2020 had a different agenda.
Yeah. Pandemic showed up, and I think a lot of people who are used to being in front of crowds got kind of shut down completely.
Yeah.
And I want to go back a little bit to you started your career when you were like 17. One of my favorite,
Me?
I mean, right? I read about you. Yeah.
17. At 17, I think I was getting kicked out of college. 23.
Wow. Well, I mean, so, but going back to seeing what you have done and what, how does somebody, who thinks, okay, I have a shot at this. How does somebody start, because you had to go in and break through. Where did you get your break from?
Def Comedy Jam. Def Comedy Jam was definitely my break, man. I was inspired by Def Comedy Jam. I started doing stand-up in 1992. And at that time, my brother was already doing stand-up. And then in 94, he got the hosting job over Martin Lawrence. Martin Lawrence had retired from Def Comedy Jam, and they made my brother the host. And man, it was after that. So 2 years later, I was on Def Jam. That's my big break. Bob Sumner, who the talent coordinator for Def Comedy Jam, who picked basically every comic you've seen on Def Jam, gave me the green light. He thought I was ready. And that's amazing, because after only 2 years of doing stand-up, I mean, but I grinded. It's about that work ethic, man. I wasn't going to ride off my brother's name. I wasn't going to ride, I didn't want the hookup. I wanted to earn everything I got. So when I came out and started doing stand-up, man, I was hitting clubs every night in LA, like 2 or 3 times a night, 6 to 7 days a week, grinding, writing every day, studying the craft, man. And it's when you put the work in, you get results.
And that's something I do know about you, Guy. Like, your work ethic is remarkable. Like I've seen you. Look at you. I'm gonna turn my mic off in one ear. Hey, I see him go from building to building, place to place, city to city, running into them. So I know your work ethic is definitely remarkable, and that's why we're glad to have you right here on the Tie and Hoodie Show. I want to talk a little bit about you growing up, as far as, because you and your brother are comedians, and you know what I'm saying, and you guys have your place in history, and Def Comedy Jam is a place where Cat Williams, Dave Chappelle, all the legends,
Bernie Mac, Martin Lawrence.
Yeah, all the greats came
Steve
from.
Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer.
Yeah,
they all came through. Chris Tucker. We all came through Def Jam.
Everybody did. And how did you and your brother end up doing comedy? Was it something that you kind of like how did that come about?
Well, Joe started first, and everything my older brothers and sisters did, I did. I'm 5 out of 6. So everything my older brothers and sisters did, I did, whether it be sports, whether it be in their careers or whatever. So there's always that good competition, So I was always a class clown, though. I was always the school bus clown. I mean, if you rode the school bus on my school bus in the morning and your gear was whack, oh, you getting talked about. Jones. We played the deserts all day, 6 a.m. We was going, man. And that's how I built up those chops, man, being quick-witted. And then on campus, man, I was, always holding. I didn't know there were shows where people would gather around and just, watch me and my crew just go after people, ranking. I mean, it's called bullying now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we were just having fun back then, man. It wasn't, no ill harm intent. But that's how it started. So when my brother moved out to LA to do stand-up, and I didn't know stand-up was really even a real job, And I went to a comedy show for the first time in college as a freshman. You know how those campuses have free shows. And there was a Korean comedian named Henry Cho. But I still didn't look at it as a job. And then when Def Jam came on, And I was like, wow, I saw my peers, people who looked like me, because I knew who Eddie Murphy was, I knew who Pryor was, but it was people my own age doing stand-up. I was like, wow. And then once I got into the game and started studying it, you saw how great Pryor and Murphy and those guys are. And Cosby.
So, I mean, how do you know, jokes are jokes, right? You know, you have to always come up with something, whether it's original, whether it's time, you know, specific.
It better be original.
Is there any time when you take a joke and plagiarize it and turn it into your own and it becomes original?
Not me. I mean, you could be inspired by a premise.
Okay.
You know? But to take somebody's joke and completely turn around and change a word or two or a sentence or two, I mean, that's not welcomed in the comedy world. It's just not. You will get looked down upon if do that. There's similar premises.
Yeah.
There's minds that think alike. Like Chris Rock is one of the guys that's on my Comedy Mount Rushmore, right? And one of many. And the thing about it is, I used to hear certain things that he would say that I had written down that was similar. I'm not saying my joke was funnier, but the idea of the original concept was like, wow, okay. And it let me know I'm on the right, you know, path. I'm on the right. Same thing with my brother and Chappelle and all the other guys I mentioned, man, Cedric and those guys, Yale. It's like, you know, sometimes you have similar premises, but it's your take on that premise. That's why it's better to really just tell your story. I tell a lot of young comics that when I talk to them, because no one can tell your story like, you know, like you can. I mean, they can try, but it's your truth. And if you can make your truth funny and find the flaws in your truth, bam.
I thought I could be a comedian, but I never really know. I mean, you're laughing. I know you're going to laugh about it because, hey, I grew up, my dad, just so you know, my dad had 19 kids and 3 wives, and we all live in the same house. So,
really?
Oh, yeah, that's comedy for you right there.
Wow. Man, you should be doing stand. Your dad should be doing stand. That's he pulled that off. 19 kids and 3 wives, man. I couldn't deal with one. One left me. I can't deal with 3 leaving me.
Oh and we all live in the same house, and that's my.
How big was this house? How many people were sleeping in the bed, man?
No, this house had 10 bedrooms, and you know, it's a big house. I mean, where I'm from, you should come to Nigeria one day, bro.
I kind of did in a way.
Don't get this man started.
I dated some Nigerian women, so I've been to Nigeria. I already came to Nigeria.
But hey, it's a beautiful country of over 200 million people. I mean, so I'm just saying, thinking about comedy. I mean, comedy was important in our lives when I grew up. You know, just making each other laugh, and it's good medicine. But I want to go back to one of the things you said. You had to grind and study and study and study.
Yeah.
How do you study comedy? How do you study the greats and come up with your own stuff? Well, while telling your story, you know.
Well, when you when you do a set, you should be recording your set, either audio or video, right?
Okay.
Your comedy set. And when we go on stage, it's called a set. And you should be recording all the time, because what happens is you want to go back and study it. Like professional athletes and college athletes, they study game film. It's the same way. You listen to how you told that joke. You listen to what worked, what didn't work. You listen to the audience response. You looked at your facial expressions when you was telling that joke, your body movement, your timing, when you took a pregnant pause between, you know, the setup and the punchline, or maybe bring it closer together or take some stuff out, but also just studying whatever your subject is. I mean, I like to do a lot of politics sometimes, as well as talking about myself, but a lot of history, our history. So you got to study, make sure your facts are straight. Can't be, because here's the thing about stand-up. It's like, if your facts are not straight, you can discredit yourself. And to me, it discredits the rest of your set.
Yeah.
Like if you contradict yourself within a set, it now it's like, he just said this, but he did that. And you got to be careful. And sometimes you don't know it when you're in it. So if you go back and you look at it, you're like, oh man, I said this. here, but it contradicts, what I just said. So that's studying the game. But also when I first started, I was studying different dialects, learn how to stutter and or different or talk in Jamaican, which I failed at miserably. The Jamaican accent. But you study certain characters. Like I used to study this dude, Mr. Bean, Noah Atkins, who would make you laugh without even saying a word, just his facial expressions and the situations. So you study those things, and you study other comedians. You study people who make you laugh the most, because the people who make you laugh the most is pretty close to your sense of humor and your sensibility of comedy. So you don't study, you study their style and their cadence and how they make a laugh. Then you make it your own, not the set, but you get inspired by the rhythm. So because some people are storytellers, some people are physical comics, some people are comics, some people are comedians. Big difference. So, and I say it all the time. A comic says funny things, a comedian makes things funny. So it's kind of good to be both, because when you're showcasing in Hollywood or something, you're doing a TV set, you got to be a comic. That's just that quick single. Y'all know, Trey knows music, so that's like your hot single that you get out. But when a comedian is when you do 45 minutes to an hour, that's the album. Now you got you got all my tracks, not just that hot single. Yeah. So it's good to be both.
Yeah. Wow.
And when I went to go see you at the Ontario Improv,
oh man,
oh my God, look, me and the whole station showed up on accident because I didn't even know it was somebody's birthday. So we started buying drinks. We was like, oh, well, Guy's here, then we came, Guy took us in the back. Man, when I tell you we laughed and my stomach hurted for an hour, I was like, I really didn't know you brought it. Like, I know you're a funny man, but I was like, for somebody to bring it for an hour is ridiculous. And I'm talking about everybody in there was just falling off their chairs, and it's just a remarkable sense. So with that being said, I want to talk a little bit about the people that's upcoming, like maybe comedians and thinking about giving up, or even people who might tell a couple jokes here and there that work a 9 to 5. What? Because I know we're looking at this screen in the back of you, and I wish I was laying on this couch.
Pause. I hope I'm not on the couch when you're laying on it.
without you.
Okay.
Watching the TV. I wish I was home sitting for you right now. But I know you had to go through some times that probably wasn't as positive as they are now for you. What's some things you could tell people, either upcoming comedians or people, just out there grinding during this pandemic? Like, hey, like I've been through that too, and here's the harvest.
Well, first of all, it's all been positive for me, because I take anything negative and turn into a positive. I'm not going to allow that positive to the negative to cloud anything, man. But it's funny you say something, man. It's funny when you made me have a moment, because when you came to the Ontario Improv, it was like a sold out show, packed,
sold out,
and that energy, and that's what I miss. Yeah. That's what the pandemic did, man. That energy on stage when you're have a room, that a comedy club or even a theater or a stadium that packed, and that energy, there is nothing like it. And in 2020, man, it wasn't there. And I've done some shows, but they have rules now, laws in certain cities. You can only have 50% capacity or 20% capacity. And all those shows, they brought good energy, which is good. But it's nothing like a packed house and that thunder of laughter, that we're used to, man. And I feel bad for any up and coming comedian who started out within the last 2 years, because that time off stage, especially if you're living in LA, that time on stage is valuable. Like I said, when I started, I was on stage when I first started 2 or 3 times a night, 6 days a week. And in the pandemic, only reason why I was working because I'm able to draw, put some asses in seats. But for comedians who can't, or comedians who's just starting out, man, and I know they did the virtual comedy things, but it's not the same. It's not like that live, in the moment, because sometimes you can come with a bit in the moment when you see a certain person in the audience and you go a certain way, that can turn into a bit you use over and over again. And you don't get that with virtual, virtual is a different skill. So if you can do that and do well, man, God bless you. I ain't that dude. but there's some talented comedians and comedians out there who can. But for the young comics, man, who coming up, there's gonna be it's like life, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know what people's faith is. I know I'm a Christian, so God never promised you with no trials. You're gonna have trials. Just make sure you got to get through them. So it's gonna be some rough periods. You're gonna have some off nights. I've been doing this 28 years. I still have, you know, off nights sometimes. So you gotta stay in it, and you gotta stay true to it. You gotta study it, and it's because it's gonna let you down. It's gonna bring you up. It's gonna put some money in your pocket. Maybe put a lady in your bed. It's gonna do a lot of things. If you true to comedy, it's gonna be true to you, and that's for anything that you do. It's not just stand up. But if you're true to what you go, because I've seen comedians, man, who start out who really ain't even funny, and you really got to be born with it. But some people are stuck with it, and they studied it so much that they became okay. You know what I mean? They're not a natural. You know what I mean? But they still can, you know, do a nice 5 to 7 minute set. But they ain't really about it. I mean, they about it, but they ain't really good. So you got to be born with it. But once you're born with it, you got to hone that craft. Take Michael Jordan, take Kobe Bryant, take LeBron James. They have natural ability, you know. But if they would have like not worked on their game, they wouldn't be the Kobe Bryant, the Michael Jordan, the LeBron James. They would just be regular NBA players that you forget about. But because they had the natural ability and they worked on their game every day in the summer and off season, that's why they're you know, some of the GOATs.
I mean, if you take situations where, you know, like Tom Brady, for example, talking about sports, talking about GOATs, you know, for a second. You know, so initially nobody believed in him. You know, he was like a robber, you know, like. So how do you, as in comedy, how do you, you know, nobody really believed in you. How do you draw that out of yourself? Where do you find courage from to say, you know what, I know I'm born to do comedy. I know I can be funny. I don't have to make 1,000 people laugh, but I know I can bring humor. What advice will you give that person coming up?
First of all, you don't need anybody to believe in you but yourself.
Oh, okay, good.
You don't need anybody to believe in you but yourself. And I had a different journey than most comedians. Maybe Tony Rock has this journey, and the Wayans may have this journey because I had an older brother that did it and did it successfully. You know, so we had big shoes to fill. So the expectation levels were higher for us than it was for a comedian who didn't have a sibling in it already. Because now my brother Joe had already established his name with, you know, Def Comedy Jam and Poetic Justice and those projects. So he had a name. So when I first started, I dropped my last name. I went by Guy T because I didn't want those two biggest shoes to fill. But also I didn't want people to just give me any hookups because of who my brother was. I wanted to earn every laugh I got, every gig I got, and every dollar I made. So I dropped my last name, went by Guy T, the world famous Guy T. People didn't know me past Crenshaw, but that was the world famous Guy T. so excuse me, sorry. So yeah, so I mean, it's you have to believe in yourself, and you just have to grind. And so if you're waiting on people to believe in you, you may be waiting a long damn time because sometimes they don't believe. I mean, you'll get, you know, some family members that may, and I'm not saying this wasn't my case. My family members have always been supportive, so we never had that problem in our family. But I understand some families do, and some people do. But if you're waiting on somebody to believe in you, then you may be waiting a long, long time. And some people fake believe in you. There's also got some fake believers out there. We got some non-believers out there, ain't you? We got some non-believers out there. So, you know, you have to believe in yourself. And sometimes that come and goes. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes your confidence wanes a bit.
Yeah. We only got a couple minutes left, Guy, man. It's all
That's it.
That's it. It goes by fast. That's it.
Look, word on the street is you got a project coming out, man. I still got my connections out there in the city, you know, where even though we all in the house. But what's going on with you? I heard this.
I got a project coming on. I'm gonna call it Nicholson Gardens. No, I'm joking. No, it's a project, man. It's a project I've been working on for a few years that I finally got. I was working on the low on it for years. It was on the low. but in the last 2 years, it finally saw the light. And it's a documentary that's going to just going to be enlighten people. It's going to entertain people. It's going to educate people. It's going to entertain people. It's going to be great. And it's just a lot of comedians are in it. My brother, and just to name a few, and DL and Cedric, and Chappelle, and Rock and those guys.
Just a few.
Just a few. Dropping some hurricane names, and just a few.
Hey man, Nick Cannon, man, it's a bunch, but it's a beautiful story about young Black comedians being hungry and being resilient, and taking something bad and turn into something good. And that's what we do as comedians anyway. We take comedy is truth and pain. So we take our pain and turn it into funny. And that's what comedy is. So this whole documentary is taking a bad situation that, not only just Los Angeles was put in, but basically America was put in, and us making it turn into a profitable experience for not just ourselves, but for our teams, for Hollywood, and at the same time entertaining the masses. So it's like the rose that grows through the concrete. And when the smoke cleared and the dust settled, what came through all of that was these hungry Black male and female comedians who was going to be heard by any means necessary. So it's that's the story, man.
Okay. Go ahead and give me your information where they can check you out. I know you're still moving around and dibble dabbing, out in the entertainment world. Where can they reach you at or find out?
Hey, I'm always trying to improve my social media game. I'm still working on it. So as many followers I can get, come on and follow me. I'll be doing some special things. But just my main one is Instagram at Guy Torry, GUYTORRY. My Facebook, we got to work things out. Facebook, sometimes we sending me with messages like you have violated. Me and Facebook don't have. We got to talk Facebook.
But don't let them shut you out.
Hey, you know what? I know we got a few minutes. I want to ask a question. I've never asked someone this from Nigeria.
Yes.
And I want to get rid of a myth basically, because when I was in college, right, we had some brothers who were Nigerian and went to college with us. And when we were, and I'm talking in the 80s, late 80s, right?
Okay.
So when we used to run around with the, African symbol on. You remember those days, Trey, when we were, and the Nigerian brothers dogged us and called us, "You're not real African, you're watered down African." And I was like, "We're all Black. Where does that come from? What's the thing that, and maybe it was just that group of brothers from Nigeria who look down on African Americans. How do you feel, and what's your take on that?"
Wow, Travon's known me for 10 years plus.
Yeah.
I think this should be another show.
Okay.
I mean, what do you think, Travon? Because there's this, Travon is my window to the African American world.
Look, I might not be a good window, but I try my best.
He is beige. He is beige.
Hey, don't get this dude started.
But I went to predominantly white school, and there was maybe about 10 or 15 brothers in the school, and there was about another 10 Africans, Nigerians, and it's always been this butthead kind of thing.
Right.
I'm like, well, we're all Black. I'm Black. I mean, for me, I'm like, we're all Black, and they're like, well, you're not African American. I'm like, but we're all Black. So it goes both ways. Your experience, my experience has been two ways. And I think the story needs to be told in a different setting where it's like, okay, we're all Black, just because you were here, you were brought here, without permission, and you've grown up here, and I came here with permission, it's a different crazy world.
Right. And I just never understood where the tension was, because we were embracing as African Americans, like, oh man, y'all are Africans. Yes, you from the motherland, and we're with you. Especially with what was going on in South Africa too, with apartheid. We were with them as well. So we were like, okay, we look. It was a positive energy coming from us, but I think when it was met with, and we don't know who started it, but when it was met with with negativity, like we're not real. I think that's where it changed for African Americans looking at Nigerians differently, as in, oh man, they don't even F with us. You know, man, we were kind of hurt.
I think it's just a bunch of, I think it's a few bad eggs, but we growing up, love America as a country, love Americans, Coming to America was one of our favorite movies growing up. Still is, love Eddie Murphy and everything that it brings. So I think it's a mixture of everything, but I've hung out with Trevon the most because he's the one who's really opened up what it means to be an African American in the United States.
Right.
Because honestly, you want to know the honest truth? We don't know.
Right.
We're just here seeking for better opportunity, better lives. Right. So there's a lot of stories to be told behind that.
When you all do that show, please invite me.
Oh no, we're gonna definitely have you back, man. Hey, if you're checking in right now, it's the Ty and Hoodie Show right here every Sunday morning, 6:30 to 7 a.m. K-Day. For now, it's the one and only GUY TORRY. You know what I'm saying? Kicked out of Trump University. In the building. Hey man, it's always a pleasure, brother. I always love your energy. I told Andrew when we had you, I said I don't really know how it's gonna go because he can act up. But that's the beautiful.
Seeing how it's Sunday morning, I kind of toned it down a little bit. It's lower
a little bit, yeah.
Hey, thank you for hanging out with us, man, and we'll see everybody next week. GUY TORRY, appreciate you, brother. Much love and respect.
So much.
And we definitely gonna keep in touch with you.
Hey, do you have valuable information that can help your community?
Okay.
And you'd like to be a guest? Hit us on our social media.
Do it now.
The Ty and Hoodie Show is sponsored by ICCLending.com. For real estate service, please go to ICCLending.com.